The night felt heavier than usual in Los Angeles, like the air itself knew something was about to break. Inside their mansion, everything looked perfect on the surface. Soft lighting, quiet music playing in the background, the kind of calm that usually wrapped around Rihanna like a warm blanket. But tonight, there was tension. The kind you don't see, you feel. Ryrie stood by the window, arms folded, her reflection staring back at her like it had questions she didn't want to answer. Behind her, ASAP, Rocky paced slowly, running his hands through his braids. He had been quiet for too long, and that alone was enough to make her uneasy. Rocky, she finally said, her voice soft, but edged with something deeper. You've been acting different all day. Just say it. He stopped. Silence, the kind that stretches and suffocates. When he finally spoke, his voice wasn't loud, but it hit harder than anything. I don't think we're the same anymore, Ree. The words didn't just land, they shattered. Rihanna turned slowly, her eyes searching his face like she was hoping, praying he'd take it back. That this was one of those moments that disappears if you don't fully hear it. What do you mean? She asked, her voice already trembling. ASAP. Rocky exhaled deeply like he had been holding this in for weeks. I mean, we've grown, but not together. You doing you, I'm doing me, and somewhere in between, we lost us. That was it. That was the moment everything broke. Ryrie's face twisted, not in anger, but in disbelief. Pure raw disbelief. No, you don't get to say that, she said, shaking her head, stepping closer. You don't just wake up one day and decide we lost us. We built this. We fought for this. Her voice started rising, cracking under the weight of emotion. But Rocky didn't interrupt. He just stood there. And that silence, it hurt more than any words. You think I didn't notice? She continued, her voice now louder, more fragile. The distance, the late nights, the way you stopped looking at me the same. Her eyes filled instantly. And now you stand here and tell me we're not the same anymore. A tear slipped down her cheek. Then another, and suddenly she couldn't stop. Ryrie broke. I gave you everything, she cried, her voice echoing through the room, raw and uncontrollable. Everything, Rocky. My time, my heart, my peace, everything. Her cries weren't quiet. They were loud, deep, painful, the kind that comes from a place you don't let people see. ASAP. Rocky looked away for a second, jaw tightening. You could tell this wasn't easy for him either, but he had already crossed that line. There was no going back now. I never asked you to lose yourself for me, he said quietly. That made it worse. Lose myself, she repeated, almost laughing through tears. You think loving you was losing myself? Her voice cracked again, louder this time. You were myself. The room fell into silence again, but this time it was heavy with heartbreak. Ryrie sank onto the couch, her hands covering her face as her shoulders shook. Her cries filled the space, unfiltered, unapologetic, real. Rocky stood there, frozen, because no matter what he said next, it wouldn't fix this. I still love you, he finally admitted, his voice low. But those words didn't comfort her. They destroyed her even more. Then why does it feel like you already left? She cried out, looking up at him with tear-filled eyes. That question. He didn't have an answer. And that silence, it said everything. Ryrie cried harder, louder than before. Not just because of what he said, but because deep down she felt it, too. Something had changed. Something had slipped through their fingers, and now they were standing in the middle of what used to be love, trying to figure out where it all went wrong. Outside, the city kept moving. But inside that room, time had stopped, and all that was left was the sound of Rihanna crying so loud it felt like even the walls couldn't hold it in anymore. The room was quiet, too quiet for a night that had started with so much promise. Rihanna sat by the edge of the marble kitchen island, her fingers loosely wrapped around a glass she hadn't even touched. The city lights outside shimmered through the floor-to-ceiling windows, casting soft reflections across the room. Normally, this view calmed her. Tonight, it did nothing because across from her stood ASAP Rocky, and something in his energy felt different. Not cold, not distant, but heavy. Why? He started, running a hand through his braids, pacing slowly like a man, choosing every step carefully. There's something I got to tell you. Rihanna looked up, her sharp eyes immediately locking onto his. She knew that tone. She'd heard it before, not from him, but from life. It was the tone that came right before everything changed. "What is it?" she asked softly, her voice calm, but her heart already beginning to race. Rocky stopped pacing. He took a deep breath. And then he said it. "I've been thinking about stepping away." Silence. The kind of silence that doesn't just fill a room, but crushes it. Rihanna blinked. "Stepping away from what?" "From everything," he said quietly. "The music, the spotlight, all of it." Her heart skipped. "You're joking," she said, forcing a small laugh. "Rocky, don't. I'm serious." And just like that, the air shifted. Rihanna slowly stood up, the stool scraping softly behind her. "Where is this coming from?" He hesitated. "That's not even the real part," he added. Her chest tightened. "What do you mean that's not the real part?" Rocky looked at her now. Really looked at her. And for a moment, she saw something she hadn't seen in a long time. Fear. "I've been feeling like I'm losing myself," he admitted. "Like everything we've built, everything we are, it's starting to feel like pressure instead of peace." That hit her harder than anything. "What are you saying?" she whispered. "I'm saying," he paused, his voice cracking just slightly. "I don't know if I can keep doing this the same way anymore." That was it. That was the moment. The words didn't just land. They shattered something inside her. Rihanna's face froze, her lips parting slightly, as if her body didn't even know how to process what she just heard. "Rocky," she breathed, shaking her head slowly. "You're not making sense." "I am," he said. Maybe I haven't been honest about it." "Honest about what?" Her voice rose now, emotion creeping in. "About how much this has been weighing on me." Her eyes glistened. "We?" she asked. "Or me?" Rocky's silence answered everything. And that's when it broke. "So say it," Rihanna suddenly cried, her voice echoing through the entire penthouse. "If it's me, just say it." "I didn't say that." Rocky shot back, but his voice lacked conviction. "You didn't have to," she shouted, her voice trembling. "Now you think I don't hear what you're really saying." Tears welled up in her eyes, but she refused to let them fall just yet. "You're tired," she said, her voice dropping into something deeper, more painful. "You're overwhelmed, and suddenly everything we built is pressure. That's not fair." "No."